Um, Good morning, everyone. Thank you for inviting me here. I was fortunate to meet both Carrie and Lisa in my former life. I've been with the Department of Education for 25 years. It's been a exciting and wonderful journey. I started my teaching career out on the Leeward Coast on Oahu at Nanikapono in Nanakuli. And spent 3 wonderful years there. Transferred into town to Royal School, taught kindergarten and second grade there. Had an opportunity to go up to state office. I worked then for the elected Board of Education. Had our current superintendent, Matsuyoshi, ask me prior to Race to the Top if I would transition over to her office. She was at the point of defending her grant. She wasn't sure that we were going to get it, but there were several pieces that we were going to do no matter what. Was invited to serve our two zones of school innovation, Nanakuli Waianae on Oahu, Ka'ukeaopohoa on this island, and our two specialty schools, Hawaii School for the Deaf and the Blind and Olamana School. And while I was doing that work back in 2011 through 2014, Soup had asked, Camille, you're always in my office asking for help. And that was true. We had lots of things we had to do. And so she said, you should lead up the portfolio for community engagement and partnerships. I'm like, yeah, I think I need to do that too. And was really lucky. I reached out to your complex area superintendent, Art Souza. I was fortunate to have my Kauai complex area superintendent, Windward District, raise their hands. And lo and behold, I actually ended up with 8 complex areas that said, we want to dig deep, really think about what this looks like. And so I was really lucky. I got to start there. And then started to meet a lot of you about what would it take for us to build the supports around classroom teachers, the supports that our principals and complex area superintendents need to make teaching and learning engaging, meaningful, and responsive to what the community wants and envisions for their kids. When you had given us a couple questions, and when I was thinking of each of the 7 core Ceeds, they're all of them would trigger something for me. The one that I think is most meaningful right now is probably collaboration. I had shared, my first teaching assignment. If it was not for collaboration, I would not have had the meaningful lessons. I had 8 wonderful teachers that helped me to develop my skill set, the activities that I wanted to teach. I had great mentors, both from the community and my families that I served, that helped me to connect with kids, connect with families. When I transferred in, I went from a very large school to a much smaller school, and so very different types of resources. Again, without collaboration, I wouldn't have been able to get the supports I think I needed to be successful. Now that I, do a lot of the engagement work, without a doubt, if you look at the word collaboration, labor is right smack dab in the middle. It is really hard. It's like Carrie has shared, very complex. There's a lot of people who want to help us, but to receive help and to connect and link people in a meaningful way is hard work. And it takes a lot of thinking, a lot of the compassion, walking in people's shoes, being really, really careful listeners to see what is the right fit, what is the right moment. And so, we've really been trying to think about that kind of things. Is it appropriate for me to do my activity? Okay. So, okay. So you want me to start? Okay. I'm really lucky, I have one of my mentors is Pono Shem, and he's okay. So everyone got to see him? Oh, so Yeah, Pono is holding, and I love the way you opened, Carrie, this morning about are these, people use this as soft skills. And Pono has argued that these are what he calls higher skills, that our kids here in the state really need that. And I just wanted to read to you a couple of things. His auntie, Auntie Pilahi Paki, gave him the gift of she was a keeper of secrets for Hawaii, and she shared with him what he's trying to teach a cohort of us, what the deeper meanings of aloha. And Auntie Pilahi, who was this keeper of secrets, tasked several of her students, one of which is Pono, to prepare the future for when the world would be in collapse. So she spoke of a time when Hawaii would be the remedy to save the world, and the remedy was aloha. So in 1970, at the Governor's Conference, she introduced modern Hawaii to a deeper understanding of aloha. Akahai, meaning kindness, grace, to be expressed with tenderness. Lokahi, meaning unity, unbroken, to be expressed with harmony. Olu olu, meaning agreeable, gentle, to be expressed with pleasantness. And ha'a ha'a, meaning humility, empty, to be expressed with modesty. And aho nui, meaning patience, waiting for the moment, and to be expressed with perseverance. And every day I try to practice the things that Pono has taught us, to find in my everyday life and response that I think I listen instead of trying to interject. It was hard with Nem, when we were doing the childhood experience, because as soon as they say something, you're connecting already and you want to jump in, but you want to be respectful and do your active listening. And so I have to practice those kind of things. And so I was hoping if I could just take a few minutes, if everyone could stand, find somebody who's not at your table, to share about an experience this past week of where either you expressed aloha or you are the recipient of. I'm only going to spend like a couple minutes if you could share that story, and then I'm going to ask if that, right after that, I'll give you a signal if we could group into groups of 4, so 2 of the groups pair back up. And then think about some place in your work environment and where you think somebody really needs to receive the gift of aloha. Okay, I think now we'll need to absolutely wrap up so that I can pass my mic on to my other panel members. Thank you very much.